The Chicago Cubs officially miss out on Roki Sasaki. We mourn the loss of not getting one of Japan's brightest stars coming to the north side. Also, guys, this Alex Bregman thing starting to pick up legs. We got to talk about it and then some. All next on the CCC. Cubs fans, Cubs fans, Cubs fans, Cubs fans, Cubs fans. What's going on, family? It's your boy, Mike Jones, back with another episode of the CCC. That's right, Chicago Cubs Central. So excited to be here with you guys. Once again, if you are loving the content I'm putting out, please go ahead, please go ahead, share, please go ahead and subscribe to the CCC network, guys. Please. We are trying to grow our viewership. And again, you can help me with that. If you enjoy the content, share it with your friends and family and all the other Cubs fans that you know about, letting them know that this is the place for the official voice of the Chicago Cub fan. All right. So, guys, Roki Sasaki. News broke yesterday, and thank you so much, everybody that reached out, that found out. Like I said, I had a family emergency. I really wanted to go live last night. I had a friend lined up to come on with me. We were going to go live and hear everybody's instant reaction to Roki Sasaki informing the Chicago Cubs reportedly that they are out of the running to sign him. He will not be playing for the Chicago Cubs in 2025. Now, you guys know me. I've been on Roki Watch ever since I started working on this channel. And it's constantly been like one of my highlights, something that I thought really picked up legs, really picked up steam, something that for a while I really thought was something that was tangible and going to happen, especially once teams started getting notified of the fact that Roki Sasaki did not choose them and the Cubs were not on that list. Then, of course, news broke and my heart broke. Roki Sasaki informed the Chicago Cubs, I want to say probably around 5 o'clock Central Time yesterday, 5 or 6 o'clock, give or take, that he is not going to go to the Chicago Cubs and play baseball for them in 2025. So he intends to either sign with the Blue Jays, the Padres, or, of course, those vaunted Los Angeles Dodgers. And, of course, you know the Dodgers and that ownership group are probably throwing some stupid cash at him, probably offering him a lot and saying, hey, we don't even need you in high leverage situations because we got Yamamoto. We also have Shohei Ohtani as well. So, I mean, literally, you can just come in and be our third guy and grow and mature into one of the better pitchers in the world. Then, of course, you look at Toronto Blue Jays, which I don't understand why he would want to be a Blue Jay. That's weird to me, but whatever. And then, of course, there is the San Diego Padres where he can go there and forge his own legacy with the Padres. So there are multiple options out there for Roki Sasaki. He, again, will be the most coveted. He is right now the most coveted free agent out there. Roki Sasaki is obviously, like I said, highly wanted. There's still 3 teams in the running. But for us Chicago Cubs fans, we're allowed to feel the feelings that we feel. And I want to say for once, I don't think that I necessarily blame or want to, throw shade at Jed Hoyer. I don't want to throw blame and throw shade at one, Tom Ricketts. This is not on them. I mean, the Cubs made from what I read, a very hefty, beautiful proposal to Roki Sasaki. Like I said, as best they could without using their Japanese influence, which would be Shota Imanaga and Seiya Suzuki. They were not able to come to the meeting. So, like I said, I mean, they did everything they could, but with everything that's been going on with Seiya Suzuki and all the chatter about potentially trading him, I guess we should have seen the writing on the wall that Roki Sasaki was not going to choose Chicago Cubs. I was talking to Brian Burns from the Setup Man podcast last night, and I was like, "Oh, Brian, this is news. This is news." You know what I'm saying? And I want to go live. I want to talk about it. He was because of our friendship and the love we have for one another, he was going to come on and onto the live with me, but I'm sure he was probably going to eviscerate me and be like, bro, this isn't news. Like, Roki Sasaki was never going to choose the Chicago Cubs. He was never going to choose the Cubs. And it wasn't even close. He's like, I'm not shocked at this by all. This isn't really news. The Cubs were never really in the running for him. And I mean, like I said, I guess sometimes we allow the pundits and the rumors and everything like that that we read to cloud our minds, to cloud our judgment. And that's when you need friends like Brian out there that's going to pull your coattail and let you know, like, hey, as great as it sounds, as great as it would be, it wasn't a viable thing. It wasn't really going to happen. The Cubs were never really in the running for Roki Sasaki. So thanks, Brian, for bursting my bubble and bringing me back to reality. But there then begs the question, what do the Cubs do now? What do the Cubs do now? And guys, that is what the rest of this show is primarily going to be about. What do the Cubs do now? How do you pick up the pieces when literally it seems like the free agency period has been placed on hold until Roki Sasaki makes his choice? The Chicago Cubs, among several other teams that they have, quote unquote, been in bed with, had talks with about potentially signing a superstar or trading over somebody to the Chicago Cubs or from the Chicago Cubs. What do you do now? How do you pick up the pieces, the broken pieces from the Roki Sasaki mess that is this free agency period, and where do you go from here? Well, there are many options actually for the Chicago Cubs out there. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When I was very disappointed when I found out Roki Sasaki was not going to choose the Chicago Cubs. I was very disappointed actually, because I mean it just felt like that killed the wind out of our sails, and that was our version of being able to get a cheap, great pitcher that's gonna come here and immediately make impact. Because I'm aware that even though the Chicago Cubs still have $30 million to spend, or they're on $30 million underneath the tax bracket, that does not mean they're going to spend all that money. And that does not mean that they're going to sign another big name. None of this is guaranteed. You know, I go back to talking to you guys about last year. After we signed Craig Counsell, I was like, we're off to the sales. Let's go. The next biggest move, the next two biggest moves after signing Craig Counsell to a contract to be our manager was obviously getting Shota Imanaga and re-signing Cody Bellinger. And that's what we did. And that was the extent really of our offseason free agency outside of Hector Neris. So when you look at it like that, when you picture things that way, it gives cause to pause and understand that this could very well be the last move the Chicago Cubs make. Now, I understand a lot of us Cubs fans have PTSD, and we are shouting from the rafters, don't stop now. Don't let the Roki Sasaki thing derail you from making another good move. And you are absolutely right if you're a Chicago Cub fan that is saying that. Do not allow the loss of not being able to sign Roki Sasaki cause you to stop making moves, stop making deals. There are trades that can still be made. There are options of things that we can do as Cubs fans. So, like I said, we learned Monday that Roki chose not to go to the Chicago Cubs. So the very first possibility, I want to highlight three of them. The first possibility is one, making a trade. Like I said, the Chicago Cubs do have young assets that some of these teams want. Some they have good prospects that some of these teams are willing to trade aces for or trade good players for. We already know about the whole. I've talked ad nauseum about the whole Luis Castillo trade deal thing that could potentially happen with the Mariners and trading off Nico Horner. But something else that has been floated around, guys, is the potential for the Chicago Cubs to trade with the San Diego Padres for Dylan Cease. Now, of course, you're saying to yourself, if you're the Padres and you do get Roki Sasaki, why on God's green earth would you then turn around and trade Dylan Cease? you're pretty much self in a position where you could World Series. Of course, it's still be very hard to beat those Dodgers, whether they get Roki or not. But still, why would you not build up your team more? Why would it seem like you're tearing your team down by trading off an ace and a perennial candidate for the Cy Young Award? Well, the deal with that is the San Diego Padres do not believe that Dylan Cease will probably sign back with them after he is a free agent. So this would be a 1-year rental. It would be the same boat as the Kyle Tucker deal. If the Cubs trade for Dylan Cease, he will gladly probably come here and pitch his ass off for us and probably have a pretty good season. I would expect all of that. Will he sign with the Chicago Cubs in the offseason after that? Probably not. So again, you're again getting ready to trade assets such as Owen Casey, or even if you do slide Nico into that deal with them or something like that, you're trading off these prospects and these assets for another 1-year rental. And you ask yourself, how viable is that? Well, it just depends. It seems to me that if you make a move like this, if you're Jed Hoyer and you make a move like this, it's because you are pushing all of your chips into the middle of the table. You're going all in. A Dylan Cease trade means like, hey, we're going all in. We're going to try to do what we can to win this year. But it's going to take more than Kyle Tucker and Dylan Cease to do so, which I'll cover that in the next topic. But like I said, when you're looking at this, you're looking at what the Chicago Cubs need to do or what they can do. And again, a viable trade candidates. And literally, you can almost piggyback off of wherever Roki Sasaki chooses to go to. Again, you can also look at the Twins and Pablo Lopez. You can also look at, if he decides to go to the Blue Jays, then you could look to get one of their starting pitchers that they may not want or have need for anymore. So again, you have options once Roki Sasaki chooses where he wants to go. You can get on the phone and say, hey, you missed out on Roki, like we missed out on Roki, or hey, you signed Roki. Now you have starting pitching that you don't necessarily have to have. Let's make a deal and let's bolster up and help both teams even more. So, again, these are all things that could happen if you decide to make a trade. Now, next, you can sign a free agent starter. So the next part that we want to look at is the fact that we've talked again ad nauseum. I just really want the Cubs to make a deal so I can stop saying talk ad nauseum. But anyways, the Chicago Cubs have also talked about the potential of signing free agent pitching that is still out there. Guys, there's still a lot of free agents out there. One we're going to talk about in the next segment. But free agent pitching, there's still a lot of options out there for free agent starting pitching, one of which that has been talked about a lot. And I see Cubs fans on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, and all of the social media forums, and even my cohorts that also report on Chicago Cubs, all at one point or another have covered Jack Flaherty. Flaherty is one of the most main talked about topics out there. Again, Jack Flaherty is also not going to be a long-term solution. The Chicago Cubs are not looking at signing long-term deals right now. If you were to sign a Jack Flaherty, it would be for less money and less years than probably what he is expecting. So again, the Chicago Cubs find themselves being that fallback partner where you have a pretty good team right now. And a guy like Jack Flaherty could probably come here to Chicago and flourish. But these baseball teams are hesitant to put all of this money into Jack Flaherty because of his injury past. We understand that he shed some of that when he went ahead and pitched for the Dodgers last year and helped them win a World Series. However, still, injury history is injury history. And if you can't stay healthy, what makes us think that you'll be healthy and ready to go for this next season and be able to give us a full season starting pitching? So, with that being said, the Chicago Cubs are hesitant to offer any big major long-term deals and put themselves in bed with Jack Flaherty, much like the Cardinals did in the past. So, like I said, again, he's a great pitcher. He's got nasty stuff. Again, his velocity is great. It's the matter of, can Jack Flaherty stay healthy? And then last but not least, one of the other options the Chicago Cubs have right now is, hey, we're all right. We're okay. We got Colin Rea. We also signed another. His name escapes me right now. We also signed another starting pitcher. We have 2 starting pitchers that we've signed here this free agency, and of course we still have Shota Imanaga, Justin Steele, as well as Jameson Tyone. So we're all right. We're all right now. We're okay in the starting pitching role. Let's go focus on getting a closing pitcher that or some bullpen relief that can help us be even better around the margins this coming season. So again, there are great quality relievers still out there. Carlos Estevez, David Robertson, Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, like I said, Kenley Jansen, the Kyle Finnegan, AJ Minter. Again, there are all types of pitchers that are still out there that can be relief pitching for you to help you lock down and shut down those games. And the Chicago Cubs need that. So let me know, guys, in the comments. I need you to comment. Let me know your thoughts. Should the Chicago Cubs, should they go out and make a trade now that they know that they're not going to get Roki Sasaki? Or should they go out and sign a free agent starting pitcher? Or should they leave starting pitching alone altogether and move forward with simply going out and getting more relief help? They have starting pitching with everybody that they have signed. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know. Let your voice be heard. Again, this is the official voice of the Chicago Cub fan. This is the CCC Chicago Cubs Central. And I want you guys to let your voices be heard. All right. So moving along from there, spring training, guys, is right around the corner. Can you believe it? Spring training for the Chicago Cubs. The dates drop today, as of today. And the dates that drop, the Chicago Cubs will report to Mesa, Arizona for training camp on February 9th. February 9th starts training camp. Guys, we are less than a month away from our Chicago Cubs beginning training camp. Now, the reason why the Chicago Cubs are reporting to training camp earlier than everybody else is because March 18th and March 19th, they have 2 games against in Tokyo against the Los Angeles Dodgers. So they want to make sure that they are up and ready for those games. The Chicago Cubs are the first team to require pitchers and catchers to report, and also the first team up for full squad workouts. So again, like I said, you want to make sure that you guys are in tune with that. The full squad workouts are scheduled for February 14th, Valentine's Day, and they are meeting before any other club in the major leagues. So I'm excited for the Cubs to get together. I'm excited for the boys to head out, and I'm really excited. You know, the Cubs always do the little hype video where they show the trucks leaving Chicago, headed out to Arizona. And I always love that video or whatnot where spring training is getting ready to begin, and they show the trucks leaving. It just reminds me that baseball is closer than we think. So again, guys, get excited. The Chicago Cubs baseball season that we have been wanting, craving, dying for is right around the corner, and I can't wait for it to come. So moving on from there, guys, our last story of the day that we want to cover, guys, this Alex Bregman thing is picking up steam. So this Alex Bregman to the Cubs thing started with it just being more of a rumor, you know, and then John Heyman called the Cubs an outside possibility for Alex Bregman. Then 5 days later, Bruce Levine theorized the possibility of a short-term deal with Alex Bregman. And then yesterday night, a step further was taken when it was reported that the Chicago Cubs have been in talks with Scott Boras about the potential of Alex Bregman signing a short-term deal with the Chicago Cubs. So I like to use analogies on this channel and on this show when I'm talking to you guys, something to help you understand more. The Chicago Cubs, more importantly, Jed Hoyer's relationship with Scott Boras is one of we are the backup. I don't know if you guys ever been in this situation before, but have you ever had somebody that you're dating that you're madly in love with, or somebody that's beautiful and shiny and bright, and that's who you really want to be with? But then you also have backup plans just in case things don't work out with that situation or that person that you want to be with. That's what I'm starting to feel like the Chicago Cubs are for Scott Boras. I'm starting to believe that the Chicago Cubs are a great backup plan for Scott Boras when he craps the bed with putting fillers out there, wanting his guys to get paid 300, 400, 500 million dollars, and those deals never materialize. He's always ready and willing to go back into the bed with the Chicago Cubs and talk with us about the potential of us signing one of his clients to a short-term deal where they can prove themselves, prove why they're worthy of that money. And to the Jed Hoyer's credit, as much as I've heard that him and Scott Boras don't necessarily always get along and they aren't the best of friends, he always picks up the phone. He's always willing to negotiate with Scott Boras. So we will once again apparently probably be negotiating with Scott Boras. Again, guys, spring training starts February 9th. There's about to be a flurry of moves that are about to happen because the Chicago Cubs spring training starts February 9th. Guys want to get into spring training. Guys want to be ready for their season, and they want to get deals done. So it's going to be important, guys, that we watch over the next 2.5 weeks what happens, because deals are about to start coming through. And of course, you know, when a deal comes through, something big happens. For the Chicago Cubs, your boy will be right here, Johnny on the spot, reporting it, talking to you about it, and giving you all the news and the breakdowns. So again, I need to know from you guys, do you want the Chicago Cubs to sign Alex Bregman to a short-term deal? Do you think that the Chicago Cubs should get in bed again with Scott Boras and make a deal with him, saving literally himself from the complete disaster with his client because he's outpriced himself to everybody in the league, and no major league team is willing to pay what he is trying to the type of deal he's trying to get for Alex Bregman? So should the Chicago Cubs go ahead and do that? Should they make that deal for Alex Bregman? What does that mean for Matt Shaw? Then, if you do sign Alex Bregman to a short-term deal, what does that mean for Matt Shaw? What does that mean for Nico Hoerner? Does that make Nico Hoerner expendable? We know the Cubs are not coming off Alex Bregman. With the way that Fangraphs have talked about the way that Fangraphs have talked about Matt Shaw. I'm sorry, not Alex Bregman. The way that Fangraphs have talked about Alex Bregman, Matt Shaw, I do not expect them to come off of Matt Shaw or trade Matt Shaw. Nico Hoerner is more likely to be traded if they do sign Alex Bregman to a short-term deal. And again, Nico Hoerner can be moved for pitching, whether that be relief pitching or starting pitching. So it does kind of make him expendable in my eyes if the Chicago Cubs do decide to make this deal and sign Bregman to maybe a 1-and-1 with the option after year one, or a 3-year deal, with options for after the second year, maybe. Like I said, I just think foresee this being something where Alex Bregman would feel comfortable coming and playing for the Chicago Cubs third base every single day. I do see that possibility. I do see him being able to flourish here. I do not see him getting a long-term contract here. That 7, 8, 9 million, 7 or 8, 9 year deal for 3, 2, probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen for him. So again, the waiting game is almost playing out into Jed Hoyer's favor, because I think he's about to come up on some deals that he probably wouldn't have gotten for some very good talent that he probably wouldn't have gotten had the Chicago Cubs, A, not traded Cody Bellinger and freed up more space, and B, not been patient. Patience, I think, might end up paying off for us, and we might have some really big news here within the next couple of weeks, guys. We just got to sit tight, and I know Cubs fans, it's hard to be patient. Your boy has been struggling. I've been trying to give y'all the very best content possible, but it's hard to project and talk about the future without knowing exactly who's going to be on the club. So with the more that time goes on, the closer we get to spring training, the more I foresee this club being stabilized and us finally finding out the future of Nico Horner, Matt Shaw, and that third base position, as well as some of our younger prospects. But once again, what I need from you guys is to do me a favor, to like, to share, and to subscribe to this podcast. Once again, this is your home, your resident spot for Chicago Cubs baseball, guys. This is the voice of the Chicago Cubs fan. I come here and I try to talk to you in a language you'll understand and give you what you need to know about the Chicago Cubs and get you hyped about the season. I need you, you need me. We're in this together. So please like, share, subscribe to the podcast. I appreciate you all so much. Until next time, or until news breaks, go Cubs, go. Love you all. Peace.